It's a good lunch. I need to remember not to have sushi next time, though. All right. Looks like we got a new applicant. All right. Name is Wixie from 100 Thieves Academy. Got a good resume. His references. Cubby, no, I've talked to him before. Rafa, that guy was weird. Magical. Huh, never talked to Magical before. All right. Let's try giving him a call. Hello, Magical. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm awake. Hi.
Hi. Am I catching you at a good time?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Just taking a nap.
Oh, okay. Fantastic. Well, I just want to let you know, my name is Steve. I'm calling because I received an application for a starting LCS position that we have available from a player named Wixie, and he listed you as a professional reference. Do you have a moment to answer some questions about Wixie?
Yeah. I don't know if I'd go so far as saying professional, but yeah, reference. Yeah, that's me.
Oh, I mean, have I called the right person?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Just want to make sure. First couple questions are very simple. Just kind of table setting. How long have you known Wixie for?
Let's see. I've been casting his games for going on a year and some change.
Okay, about just over a year. And how would you describe your working relationship? You said casting?
Yes. So usually I see him in games. I've met him actually recently in person, which was really nice. But I've been mostly seeing how he plays in games, keeping up on his story and where he's really grown from there. And I gotta say, big fan.
Okay, all right. I like that. Now, Wixie has applied to the position of starting LCS player.
Oh.
Now, what qualifies them for our consideration in your professional experience?
I mean, have you watched Academy this year? This is just a genuine question.
I've caught a couple. I've caught a couple games.
Okay, then you should already.
I follow path to LCS.
Good. You should already know then that Wixie's absolutely dominating in the bot lane. And
okay, dominating.
Yeah, with 2 different supports, still doing an amazing job. Constantly looking for these plays early. This guy is amazing, and he's one of these rookies I've had my eyes on for some time. And like, yes, I want to see him. I think that he has potential to make it to the LCS.
Now, when was the last time that you actually had an opportunity to witness Wixie working? And how would you rate his performance?
What, like 5 minutes ago, I'd say?
Oh,
yeah,
really?
Yeah, and I'd say there's certain things I can't say right now.
There's certain things that you can't say
no,
right
just
now.
not
contractually.
No, more just not professional, you know? Like, other words for curb stomp and dominating and absolutely godlike.
These are all good words. These are all fantastic words. Why wouldn't you say those?
No. I would use more, like, go further with them.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, those are the
right.
tame words. Those don't even describe my full feelings of what just happened.
Okay, that makes more sense. Thank you. Appreciate it. The clarification. Yeah. Now I'm curious. How would you rate Wixie's performance in high stress situations?
I mean, good, really good. I've seen him do random things that I've forced him to do for content, and he did a great job at each one of them. So.
Oh, okay. So content. That's a good one. That's a good one to note. It's definitely something that we look for in players.
Yeah, it's spelled CONTENT.
There's a Q in there, right?
No, and this is all capitalized with spaces between each letter.
Spaces between each letter.
Content.
All right, I got it. Content. Cool. All right, now how would you rate Wixie's overall professionalism? Because, you know, having professional players representing a brand is important to us.
I mean, he's more professional than I am.
Well, that's saying something. Yeah. That's saying something for sure. I'll write that down. That's context, sure. All right, now final question for you, Mr. Alex Magical, Mad Magical. Sorry.
That's okay.
What's something that their future manager should know about them, if we were interested in moving forward with Wixie?
Good kid, good boy. 10 out of 10.
Good kid.
Good boy.
Good boy. 10 out of 10. Yep. Is that with a Y or an I? Okay. Good boy. 10 out of 10. Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Magical. I really appreciate the time. I know that you're probably a busy man, so I don't want to take up too much of your time right now.
I'm just going to go back and take a nap.
By all means, go for it. And I'll also pass it back to you and Cubby to get us ready for game number 2.
Well, so much for a nap. No nap for me. Gotta stay back on here. Got you back here, Cubby. That was interesting. I've never been called a professional before.
I mean, have you seen the jacket you're wearing? How can you not be a professional?
You would call this professional?
I mean, I've seen the movie Top Gun, and
Oh.
those
Where's
guys
the
are pretty
glasses?
professional.
I gotta
in
get
that
the
movie.
glasses now, you know?
Yeah.
Just get the aviators going on, and then I'm all set to go pilot a plane. Nobody would question it.
Just trying to be the goose to your Maverick. I hope enough people in chat get that reference. If you don't, just go check out that movie.
Yeah. And you know what? Speaking of checking things out, we got to check out what just happened in the previous game. Talk about that. That was an absolute stomping by 100 Thieves Academy. TSM, what do you think they can change going into Game 2 that can give them a better leg up?
It's interesting because I think that 100 Thieves, like, just this core identity of, hey, we're going to be pathing bot and we're going to force you to kind of answer. TSM didn't have the answer. The one time that Hyper was able to get bot at the right timing, that play didn't work out. He went in, stepped on a trap after it flashed out. Bit of minion block involved, so tad bit unlucky, but still, it's... I think that trying to answer Kate Lux with Jin Yumi is really risky, and I'm pretty surprised that that's the approach that TSM went for. And then when the rest of your lanes kind of get neutralized, the Cinder lane was neutralized, the Trinimir was neutralized because the rest of the map won already. I think that TSM's best chance to win is pathing top. And I think that it is Academy. Like, we want to see these players and teams kind of develop and find new strategies, but that's one where they just didn't hit the right timers to go bot, and every time that they had a potential opening, Kenvi closed that window before it was even able to get cracked open.
That is very true, but you know what? Let's bring back our host and ask him some questions and see how he thought of the game, being able to watch the whole thing as an observer. So, Steve, welcome back. Good having you back.
Hey, what's going on,
How you doing,
guys?
Kangas?
Thanks for having me. Sorry, I had to dip out there for a second.
Hey, did you get your workouts in?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I've been getting a good finger pump this whole
I still
time.
can't find anything.
All right, we'll work on that. Don't worry. I'll send you some equipment to use next time, guys. I checked the tape. I checked the numbers, and that is the most turrets that we've had taken pre 18 minutes in an Academy game so far. 4 cracked. Absolutely insane coming in here from 100 Thieves Academy. The Kayla Lux combo. Welcome to Academy, Shenyi. I mean, that was a pretty rough time to have to play into that one because they were able to get all over the map. So I'm going to echo your sentiment, Cubby. Play through top lane seems to be the play now for TSM. If they're trying to bounce back here, you got to play through Viper because Wixie and Busio are looking hot right now.
I wouldn't opt into strategies that give Busio, like, control mages. I think, like, I watched this guy play mid lane. He was such a good mid laner, like an amateur, and so I feel like it just leans even harder into his strengths, where I know that Busio, like, as a player, he really looks up to Keria, and like that's one of the reasons he ended up role swapping to support. He saw support being this boring role. It's not. It's one where you can break the game if you play well, and that's one where Wixie and Busio, they were able to break the game through bottom, and it was through Busio. I know Lux is pretty standard, but still, this damage carry at support matching that with Wixie, it was too much for TSM to handle.
So, Cubby, are you telling me there's a chance that we get Cinder support?
That's what I immediately thought of when he said that about Busio.
Yeah?
Who knows?
If anybody's gonna do it, magical, I think that we can put some faith in Busio. Yeah, those Lux bindings, there was a Trinimir and a Xinjiao on the enemy team, and they had to burn ult pretty much any time they got hit by one of those, because otherwise they're just dead. Yep. So yeah, I think a lot of question marks from TSM Academy. How do they adapt going into this next game? But we won't have to wait long to figure out because the teams are now ready for pick and ban. So I'm gonna pass it back to the two of you to get us ready for game number 2.
Thank you, Kangas. Oh, it's good having you around. We'll see you after this game, but we got to dive into this. Game 2, teams are remaining on the same sides. 100 Thieves on blue, TSM on red, and I'm a little concerned by that. I want to see TSM actually switch sides. I know they like to have that counter pick bot lane, but it just seems that if you're going to let the Caitlyn through, and you let Caitlyn through, got to ban Zeri as well, then if you don't ban Thresh, that's probably going to be the immediate pick for Busio.
Well, Mad Magical, that is going to be where we might see some adaptations, is that Caitlyn has been taken off the table. I think important to note, Zeri is enabled in Academy and is not yet on the ban list. Now, as we've seen more Zeri, I think that we have seen some opinions change about this champion. I know that, at least in LCK specifically, they've actually been letting through Zeri quite a bit to play Tristana into it. One of the better matchups that you can have in the lane. So I think that people are trying to figure out this champion the more that it does get played. I will still stand by the fact that even with some of the changes in 12.3, she's still really, really, really strong.
Yeah.
So I know that she's going to get taken down a peg again in the future, and I think that's when we might see more Zeri, because then she might be a champion that's still in line. But 100 Thieves actually take it away on this side of the map, and will actually just throw down that Graves first pick.
Wow.
This can be flexed 3 ways on the top side, but we have seen it mostly in the top lane, and Gamsu, of course, in that last game did very well at neutralizing Viper's Tryndamere, making sure that 100 Thieves had shove, and making sure that 100 Thieves were able to take that game.
There's just so much going on right now that is surprising me. The first pick Graves, the first pick Rise, Karma is banned, Thresh is open and not touched by either team at this moment. I'm just confused.
Well, we could easily see a Thresh Aphelios or a Thresh Jinx pairing here, as TSM. Something we did say is we wanted to see Hyper maybe work towards that top side, and with this Rise Xin Zhao lock-in, that does tell me that attacking top lane is in the cards for TSM, as of course Rise can get that shove, can go move to the side lanes and support those. So I think TSM maybe showing a little bit more early game potential here as 100 Thieves. So trying to lock in what we expect to be a counter for the Rise, and just might take away that Akali, which has also been one of Viper's best champions throughout this split.
Yeah, this is a very interesting change coming in from the draft of both teams. Instead of trying to go for the bot lane, lock in Wixie Busio, lock in Instinct and Shenyi, we're seeing the change of topside focus. You had been just talking about that you want to see more of this top lane being attacked by TSM, but 100 Thieves are answering that in many, many ways early into the draft. Jinx finally gets locked in by Instinct to actually grab one of these top tier ADCs, but it's a bit surprising to see how the changes are for both teams.
I think that we're going to see... it's going to be interesting because TSM still holding on to that top lane counter, but given the fact they have that big lethal tempo marksman in Jinx, we're going to see 2 marksman bans thrown at the side of 100 Thieves and Wixie. And I'm curious to see Wixie and Busio kind of reach down into that champion pool, because Busio and Wixie, they love to talk about the tech or the technology or like crazy picks that they can come up with. As Busio, being an ex-challenger mid laner and also still being able to maintain a very high rank at roles like mid lane, even playing in solo queue. And then Wixie, a lot of people don't know, Wixie was actually a big Draven player when he was in amateurs. So these guys are able to reach down a little bit further into their champion pool. And I'm curious to see what we have here, as I'm really looking out to see if Wixie ends up taking something like Varus. I think Varus could be a good pick. And if they do let the Thresh through, that has to mean that Busio and Wixie have something prepared for this thing.
I kind of want to...
Senna's still on the table, too.
The Senna is what I'd expect. Yeah. That's more what I'd expect over the Varus, but I'd rather see the Draven. I feel like that is a good statement.
Of course you'd rather see the Draven.
I mean, yeah. Is it a surprise to you that I want to see something that isn't seen too often? I would like to see these kind of picks, these changes from players. And here, looking at how the changes have been for the draft, double ADC ban, double top lane ban from 100 Thieves, still hitting the pool of TSM, trying to take away as much as they can on the top half of the map that would normally do well in the Gamsu, but that is a flex Rise top.
So we talked about the big champion pool, Wixie and Busio. Time to talk about the big champion pool of Viper. He has yet to play Rise this split, but we know it's something that he can play. And this is a decent pick into Graves. You can kind of match the shove as time goes on. If you go tank Rise, it feels really, really good. And you also do magic damage when Graves scales off of getting armor from that grid. So I like this adaptation. I'm curious to see if he's going to be able to withstand a Hullbreaker rush as the Rise. And also curious to see how hard TSM can attack that top side, because you have Xin Zhao and Twisted Fate. Gamsu is going to have a really difficult game, and all of a sudden, we have a rather short-range team for 100 Thieves into Rise TF. It's going to be really tough for them to team fight. They're going to have to be very careful about when they pick their spots to go in.
I think that's why I wasn't necessarily sold on going for this Varus here. Sure, you have the poke that you can get from the arrows, Chain of Corruptions too, to lock people down. Bomb Kensha is pretty good in engage, but you talked about the range. Jinx, Rise, Twisted Fate. These are all great champions to try to keep people away from them. Then you have the engage potential from Hyper and Shenyi on to an actual engage support in Rel.
And this is what I was somewhat talking about with some of 100 Thieves' drafts, is that when they do pick a defensive support, so like Tom Kench, and they don't get ahead early, there's a lack of engage on the side of 100 Thieves. And this game, we're definitely seeing that as the big engage tool for them is going to be Wixie's ultimate on this Varus. So it does kind of round out the composition, but I like this comp and draw up once again for TSM. If they are able to get Viper ahead in this top side, who's going to be able to deal with that rise as this game goes on?
That's a good question.
Not the Graves.
Honestly, they're not the Graves.
Yeah.
You can kite an Akali and a Viego pretty well if you play this one right. And we know that Viper is capable of that on Rise. This is one of the things that is given a lot of strength to TSM. The fact that Viper has such a large champion pool in this top lane where he can play the marksman, he can play things like Rise, but also go back to comfort in things like Riven, that makes it so that even if you lock in an early Rise, you pull the rug out from under 100 Thieves. They know it's going top lane. You have very little range to be able to compete with that. So if we can scale up, if we can get to a mid to late game position where we're even, there's very little room for you actually to be able to punish us.
And this Rise just puts a huge X marks the spot in the top lane, I think, for each jungler. As, keep in mind, pre-6, Rise isn't mobile. He's going to have access to Flash and, of course, the Empowered Rune Prison, but that is a place that Kenvi can look to attack. So we might see a change of game plans coming out from both teams here, as I think keeping your eyes on the top side going to be much more relevant in this game.
I agree. I feel like TSM are listening to your advice, but 100 Thieves also are taking that and utilizing that as best they can to maybe be able to punish that. The only way we can find out is by getting into our second game of the day. Week 5, day 1 here of our spring split. Both teams going for a typical line of scrimmage. You know how I feel about that, Cubby.
I know. Mad Magical likes the blood. That's really what we have to keep in mind. As no blood, always going to lead to a disappointed Mad Magical, or should I say Maverick, for today.
Mad Maverick?
Yeah, so, something like that. As we do hop in this game, I am expecting it for sure Hyper, I think, to try and path an attack towards that top side. And I know that on the bot side, so something we're going to also have to look out for is Shenyi with this Rel. Now, Rel, this is one of Shenyi's best champions, a 76% win rate on 21 Rel games in Shenyi's career. Of course, much of that with the LDL roster of FPX. Did have 5 games in the LPL starting, where Shenyi did admirably well. But Rel's Q, that takes away shields. Tom Kench, if he gets in trouble, he has to pop that shield. It's going to be a consistent game that we're going to see played between these two supports. I want to see if Shenyi can utilize this R5 counter pick to make sure that TSM can pick up this game and go even in this best of 2.
And if we're going to speak about stats and win rates on champions, Rixie might have gone for the Vars that you were recommending, but he doesn't have the most outstanding win rate on this champion. He is 1-6 on the champion in his career.
And he's yet to play it this season. So those marksman bans is going to force a different look from 100 Thieves Academy bot side, and we're going to have to see if that tech that they always talk about amongst the two of them, it can pay off in this one, as their champion pools were limited, and they were counterpicked by the side of TSM.
But at the moment, they are getting a little bit of an advantage in the spot lane. Jimian getting pushed in by Takeover. Kind of expected the Twisted Fate into a Akali matchup early into the stages of this lane. Pretty easy for Twisted Fate to kind of punish the low range Akali has.
And curiously enough, so something I did tease in the early stages of the game is that I thought both junglers might path up towards this top side. But it's going to be the same pathing as the last game. And yet again, we see Gamsu drop that Trinket Ward on the Krug. So 100 Thieves should know that Hyper is going for this same clear. And keep in mind, last time, 100 Thieves utilized that bot lane priority to get that bot crab and get Kenvi ahead in the jungle pathing. And with the paths being mirrored, 100 Thieves look to be trying to do that yet again.
There were pings from both sides. You can see right there the danger ping by 100 Thieves, saying that they expect Hyper to be looking for a lane gank as well. Not that he's even going to go through the river. They've got Kenvi nearby, but props to TSM. They've got to spot it out, and they think they know exactly where Kenvi is at this moment.
Kenvi and Hyper, you can see Hyper already adapting that path, not even checking that bot river, just knowing that crab is gone. And go towards this top side, but Kenvi actually has a response as well. As Jimian gets rather aggressive, loses a lot of health, and Twist of Fate does have priority. Kenvi's going to walk into this top side, find the crab, but Hyper, he's going for the dive, and Kenvi is not here to hover.
It is all set up. Gamsu is low. They've got a massive minion wave for Viper, and attacking the top lane is what TSM are going to do. But Kenvi's right behind him. You got to kill him quick. Be careful, because here comes Kenvi. They got a lot of damage, but the Rune Prison wasn't enough to lock him down. Hyper now in a little bit of danger, but the sun's going to land onto Hyper instead. Kenvi getting a little bit poked back onto Viper. They got to be careful. Neither side fully wants to engage, especially with all those minions for Gamsu.
And Kenvi's just going to reset and try and get that bot crab wait. But that's a big hover from Kenvi because at least Gamsu was able to share that experience instead of having it be denied.
It helped out a lot. It made it so that, sure, they burned the flash, but they don't die. They don't give up the gold over to Viper. That nearly was perfectly set up. That was such a fat
It was a beautiful
wave.
setup.
It was, but Kenvi, like you said, props them. Applause. Go his way for being able to read that play as well. Say, that's a fat minion wave. If I'm not here, Gamsu's dead.
And he was able to sneak in that crab as well. So Kenvi gets back out onto the map, a camp ahead, and going to be a little bit further ahead as he goes for his second clear, as he did go for that full clear. So Kenvi is in good shape. As next thing to look out for is really going to be, can Hyper make his way back towards this top side and try and attack Gamsu again when his flash is down?
I would actually hope so, because look at how Viper is playing into Gamsu. Yeah. All this damage he's able to get on him solo. You talked about post-level 6 for Ryze, and that really being the scary moment. But Viper saying, nah, I've got this pressure early on to the game. All I need is a couple levels to be able to set up any dive. But Kenvi now back into the top lane. Hyper's gone towards the bottom path of the map. This could be very dangerous.
And the pressure, though, it does delay Kenvi's clear, as he was forced to come up and hover in case Hyper was going to go for that dive. So the pressure from Viper, even though it doesn't net them a kill, it is still netting TSM a bit of a lead for Hyper. This might even open up a window where Hyper could try and sneak into this bot lane unanswered. Now, Kenvi was not spotted, which is important. So TSM are kind of going off the assumption that both jungle clears are linked, and it won't be until they spot Kenvi on this ward they have around the red buff, as Kenvi just showed, where Hyper now knows that he might be able to make a play earlier than what Kenvi can answer.
But still, it's going to be difficult. The ward control, the vision control is the name of the game for 100 Thieves Academy at the moment. Kenvi's nearby and can easily show up, but now it's going to be the flash away. Wixie's in trouble. They've got the stun on the Busio, but Kenvi, too little, too late. The kill's already in Hyper's pocket, and now Busio has to flash over the wall just to survive.
Really good setup from TSM, is not only do they have the extra member there they spotted from the war, but they also bring the Twisted Fate port in, so Takeover is able to at least lend some of his support. Doesn't walk away with an assist, but TSM do walk away with first blood.
This is a nice play coming in from TSM.
Yes.
They've got this huge lead in the top lane, purely from Viper getting this control over Gamsu. This has allowed Hyper so much time on this map to make these plays, to look for these plays in other lanes as opposed to just trying to see if he can facilitate Viper.
Oh boy. Jimian.
I think that's a risky play, even if he got the stun onto Shenyi, because Takeover's on the other side. With the Heartbreaker, it is enough. They don't even need to wait. They can get the kill easily.
Jimian and Kenvi find the 2v3 as they still had access to those ultimates, and they put them to good use. But still, at least TSM are able to pick up the dragon, and I think they're the ones still coming away ahead from this, because look at that top lane CS differential.
Ooh,
look at how far Viper is ahead in this matchup.
New counter. New counter to Grave Sop. We had Tryndamere and Jace before. Now Ryze Sop is going to be the new flavor.
It's good. You just have to get it out of those early levels where Viper doesn't have access to that flash and mobility. It sometimes can be hard for Ryze in the long lane. And TSM have done that successfully. Now Viper is really cashing in and forcing Gamsu to, looks like, to rush a Hex Drinker potentially in this build. Now, I will say one of the concerns for TSM is that for Takeover, that first port didn't net him any bonuses. So yes, it did net the team, the Dragon, and a lead in the bot lane. First blood is on Hyper, but Takeover didn't contribute to that first gank besides just casting that ultimate. So he is a little bit behind now in this mid lane matchup. And we have seen the strength already of Akali as we're approaching the mid-game. Once Jimmy is able to finish that first item, he could be a nightmare to deal with in the side lane and could be the one to try and answer Rise as this game moves on.
That could be an answer. Make sure you shut down Viper from being in the side lanes, getting control for the team, getting that scaling necessary, especially because it's more than likely going to be that pseudo-tank Rise where you get a lot of mana so you can still do a lot of damage, but you got a lot of tank stats behind it too. That's also the thing that might be detrimental towards the side of 100 Thieves. How can they really cut through this Rise when the only one who's really going to be able to do anything is probably going to be Jimmy, and once he shows, Viper can lock him down and kite back pretty easily.
And Viper has just netted a one-level lead and change, and 3 points pretty much all by himself. It was only one visit from Hyper where Kenvi hovered. And Viper's just been able to get the rest of the lead done, as I know that TSM has had some woes in the early season, but Viper has been one of the bright spots, and something that we did expect out of Viper, especially given what he's been able to accomplish in his career and what he accomplished last year, where he won Proving Grounds with no org and then took fourth with Immortals. As I believe as an individual player, those were combined two of some of the best finishes that we had, especially considering that he was an amateur, his first split. Really impressive year from Viper. I know that TSM has struggled, but good to see Viper showing some of that individual play and flexing those muscles as he forced Gamsu out of lane yet again. That's more points and pressure going over to TSM, and we're going to use this to try and pick up this Rift Herald as well.
Jimmy and Kenvi hanging out in the wings. Possibly could have gone for a play, but with Takeover having that Destiny Gate, would have been a really risky play out of 100 Thieves.
It will call it off, and it is TSM winning the early game on the map, something that we have been looking for out of TSM is their early game currently ranks 9th in gold differential at 14. Yeah, they're averaging being down almost 1k gold. The only one that's worse is C9, who have played almost half their games with 3 subs. They were losing games rather heavily. So the fact that TSM are, again, putting together a better early game, this is one of the things that we have seen lacking out of TSM in this early season, one of the improvements that they can make. The next one is making sure they're able to snowball the games that they do have a lead. We have seen some mid-games where they're a little bit desynced, aren't able to put things together. Now, we did see in their last series against Team Liquid, they won an early game playing through Viper's Akali in the top side, and were able to convert that into a win. So I want to see if Viper can try and take this lead and help his team convert this into another win, as he is on another magic damage carry in the top side.
Especially because they have the lethal tempo AD carry in the bot lane. Instinct on this Jinx is something that will continue to get scarier and scarier as the game progresses. If Viper is able to make a play, get Instinct into that position, especially with Takeover on something like Twisted Fate, Hyper on Xin Zhao, they can easily look for this play into the spot lane with the low range that 100 Thieves have at the moment.
Wixie's alone. Shen Yi.
Yeah, looks for the dive, but it's going to be Chain of Corruption. It's on to Instinct. The flash coming in away from the rocket to be able to survive, but here's Hyper right behind him. He flashes over the wall, looks for the kill himself, takes it down, and with the Destiny Gate open, Kenvi gets the Heartbreaker in the backline for Shen Yi. Now he turns his attention onto Instinct. Instinct's got to get away. He's kiting back the best he can, but that's a lot of damage coming in from Kenvi with the stun from the Spectral Maw as well. Just needs one more piercing to take a double kill for himself with the gobble up there from Busio, spinning him right back on the traps. Triple kill for Kenvi.
Kenvi's the one who gets the triple kill. But in the replay, Wixie played that so well, Mad Magical, as he forced Shen Yi to take bonus tower shots that opened up the first reset for Kenvi's Viego. And guess what? Kenvi's Viego, he's here to save the day for 100 Thieves Academy, as that is a triple kill and a dragon, and now an even gold lead. He's going to get the replay. Wow. Look at Wixie. The sidestep, steps forward to get out of the choppers, and then flashes away from the pull from Rel. I know that he goes down, but he plays this 1v2 so beautifully that Hyper is forced to get in the turret. He gets split from the rest of his team, and that's what opens up the window for Kenvi to run the rest of this fight with his Viego.
It's like Gamsu in the previous game. The 2 ganks utilized onto him, wasted a lot of time for the rest of 100 Thieves to show up, and there it was just well done from Busio, spitting him onto the traps because they had stolen the soul of Instinct so they could get their own traps done up, get a triple kill. Kenvi now 4-0 in this game. It was looking pretty good for TSM beforehand. The top side of the map's doing well. Now they are giving up a lot of control, especially to someone who can scale up really well like Viego.
That's a weird Rift Herald drop for me as well, as Kenvi's going to be here to hover, so it doesn't get a second charge.
Yeah.
And it only takes down 1 plate in a lane that Viper is just destroying. Like, that could have been thrown mid, maybe netted 2, and then maybe have set up to take that mid tower off of another winning fight. But either way, it does ensure that Viper continues to stay ahead and continues to move forward in this game, as he is going for that Everfrost first, and then we'll see if Ryze ends up going tank. I do expect him to go tank this game, given that you want to prevent the Viego resets and you're going up against this poke Varus, but that play in the bot lane, really important for 100 Thieves because they get outscaled throughout this game, especially in that marksman position where they're going up against that big late game lethal tempo Jinx. So they are down 1k gold as plates fall, but I want to see if 100 Thieves can maybe utilize some of the sums they got out of TSM in that bot lane play to punish with the strength of this poke Varus as Shenyi. Oh, he's spotted.
Ooh, that
okay.
Wixie smelled something a-cooking there from TSM and said, all right, I'm expecting Shenyi just looking for a play right behind us who can easily jump and kill me since I have no sums. Nice read there, allowing Kenvi to invade. Viper's nearby. The smite goes over to Kenvi. Viper now taking a lot of damage. Gotta be careful there. Even if you can heal up, that's gonna be the Heartbreaker. Even with the ult, you still die so low to Kenvi. Takeover's underneath this turret. The stuns come through. Body block with the arrow. Looking for a little bit more. It's a double kill again for Kenvi. He's able to kite it back as best he can, but they're not gonna be able to land the Chain of Corruptions for any more.
Well, Kenvi is 6-0 going up against TSM, and he is every single kill that 100 Thieves has, as apparently we just tuned into the Kenvi show for this game too. We have seen this on Academy quite a few times before. Kenvi can do this. He's really good at League of Legends. And here, just see him catch out Hyper, going for his blue, going to support that bot lane. Not allowed as Kenvi beats him to the spot, takes him down, and forces another kill as they get Shenyi as well, trying to recover that play. Not quite able to do it. And we said that we wanted to see 100 Thieves try and hit this spike really hard. Good to see them do that successfully as that snowballs into the bot lane outer turret and gets them a 1k gold lead.
I mean, yeah, you get a 1k gold lead, but is that really a 1k gold lead? Look at the items for Kenvi.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to make this next dragon rather interesting, as Kenvi, 1.5k gold lead on himself, and a completed Death Dance as well, as Mad Magical was pointing out. I think also importantly enough, Mad Magical, that's another ult taken away from Takeover, as he was forced to respond with the port on the Twist of Fate, and TSM still lose 2 on the play. So that's a response play that's denied from TSM that will now be delayed, and I think it might force TSM to try and seed this dragon, as they did try and get bot lane river control, but I don't know how they can obtain this with Viper being in the top side, their strongest member at this point of the game, and without a Twist of Fate ultimate. So I expect 100 Thieves to take over this bot lane river. They did just get mid priority, and here they go, taking away the wards.
Dragon will spawn in a minute. Probably will have Destiny Gate for Takeover at that same time. Could be something TSM might be able to fall back on to rely on the fact that cooldowns will be there. Same with Flash for Takeover. If you want to go for a Flash gold card, done with the root as well from get the root as well from Everfrost. But like you said, it's giving this control at this moment to 100 Thieves, where they can push up. They can even have Jimmy in. You talked about this before, where we were wondering who's going to be able to match Viper. Well, Jimmy's in a pretty good spot now that he's got that Hex Tech Rocket Belt completed.
Yeah, and now the one window that TSM could try and take control of this bot lane river back is this one. Because you can see Viper just crash that top lane wave into the inner turret and is now walking to join his team. So in the 5v4, he might be able to help TSM get priority over this bot lane river, but you can see how difficult it is going into a Varus, especially with this poke build. Jinx just can't approach or else she loses her health. That would 100% ensure that 100 Thieves gets this dragon. And 100 Thieves sure look like they want this dragon, but TSM is actually here to contest, as they feel like they're strong enough to maybe take a fight. And they're really going to have to be careful of what Kenvi is able to do in this one, because if Kenvi gets that reset, he is 6-0. He is going to run through this fight. And curiously enough, the 100 Thieves, they're actually not on this dragon. They just want the objective.
Well, actually, I kind of like this read. I like this.
Interesting.
Someone that could be able to punish them are these 2 mages on the side of TSM. They can always clear out the minion wave pretty effectively. Even Kenvi going in does not smite steal it, though. So close, but so far. Now he's stunned up for days. Wants to escape, but he's shut down by Takeover.
And a big mistake coming out of 100 Thieves is now they're going to get ported on twice. That's a Realm Warp and Twisted Fate. They're in trouble.
That was a beautiful flank coming in from TSM. Wixie Busio completely caught out. They thought they were safe, but it's going to be the engage coming in from Shenyi. The flash away from Wixie, but the shield is not enough to survive from Hyper. Jimmy can only watch in horror as his bot lane is taken out by TSM.
And just a weird series of events from 100 Thieves Academy, as I can understand trying to steal the dragon, not wanting to team fight the Rise Twisted Fate team, as you don't think you want to skirmish in the side lanes, I think preferably with an Akali Viego, but once Kenvi throws away his life, and once Jimian spotted on this bot side, it is free-range hunting for TSM to go after this mid-lane push, and 100 Thieves were way too far up for having Kenvi go for that steal, and they get punished.
Yeah, Kenvi's the one who had all the gold. 6-0, now 6-1. That is shutdown gold picked up by Takeover. And with that control, they got the kills. They get themselves a Rift Herald. They can back out of this afterwards. This was just beautifully read by TSM.
Yeah, I do want to credit Hyper in that replay as well, that ultimate to split up Wixie and Busio to make sure that Wixie goes down. I know that we've been a little bit critical of Hyper in this early season, but he still has some of these nice moments in team fights with the mechanics, and that's one there that made sure TSM were able to pick up that bonus kill. They also pick up the bonus Rift Herald in the back half of that play. And with this 1k gold lead back in their pockets, TSM, with this scaling composition, I think if they're able to deny some of these side lane skirmishes from 100 Thieves Academy, they're in really good shape to win this game.
And this is the bounce back we wanted to see out of TSM. This is what we were asking for in the previous draft, where we were looking at them, what they could do to kind of get back into this game. Well, they're getting the scaling. They're not necessarily throwing away everything. They still got to be careful, because it's going to be still 6-1. Still going to be a scary Viego that does scale pretty decently as well. That's really the one threat that is still remaining for 100 Thieves.
And you can see 100 Thieves trying to opt into these skirmishes. Jimmy and Kenvi, two strongest members at this point of the game, grouped up on the top side. Will net that top lane outer for themselves, but the response mid, Wixie does have a lot of wave clear, but you can see how careful he has to be, as he knows that he could be flanked at any moment from the side of TSM, given the fact that 100 Thieves just showed two members on that top side.
Well, and the thing with playing the poke Varus as well is how easy it is to kill him. Once you jump on top of him, those arrows only can do so much. You're trying to get consistent damage over time, as Varus with Duskblade. And if you can kill him before he's even able to throw out an arrow, great for the side of TSM. Is right now Viper thinking enough to just tank up the turret, take it for free. Gamsu, he's so far behind at this point, the Viper, that it doesn't even seem like this Graves is a part of the game.
And you can see on the side of that Rise, it is going to be the tank build with that Fimbulwinter completed, and now a Frozen Heart going up against, I guess, an auto-attacking top side. I don't know if Wixie still constitutes as an auto-attacker. Definitely going to do physical damage with the poke Varus, but no one's going to be able to deal with Viper besides Jimian. So I really want to see if 100 Thieves can get a lane state where they get Jimian in that side, as right now they're trying to deal with this Rift Herald being thrown down mid. They will land some nice poke with Wixie to protect that turret.
Even get a stun onto Viper there. They weren't able to follow it up.
Nice.
Poke from Wixie is starting to really hurt these members, despite some tanky stats they might have.
So that's a nice win for 100 Thieves in terms of the health bar war, but they can't go and start this Baron, because it is this poke Varus. They don't have any Baron DPS.
No.
So they're really just able to utilize this pressure to try and fight for chickens. Now Busio.
Busio pulled back in. Same with Kenvi. Arrow, not body blocked. It's the Rocket that's body blocked here with the Realm Warp, cutting off Busio's retreat. He has to sacrifice his own life just so the others can survive.
And that's the difficulty of 100 Thieves trying to find these skirmishes, and I like that TSM are staying grouped, because you were never going to have a 2v2, 2v3 scenario against Viego Akali that you can win. So TSM grouping is preventing that. Now Kenvi trying to find the skirmish.
Yeah, but this is the problem. Trying to fight against someone who has a lot of armor. Jimian jumps on top of Viper, getting a lot of damage himself. He might be able to get a solo kill completely outright, taking out the jungler of TSM.
The team reset, Hyper did not. A little bit late. Jimian able to find the punish. Really important that 100 Thieves can find that, because that's the smite taken off the map with this Ocean Dragon spawning. So this could have been sole point for the side of TSM, but that's a big mistake, not being able to reset as a team. Now they're forced to respond to the top side as Jimian doesn't have ult.
Land, same with Everfrost, getting a lot of damage, but look, Jimian fighting back valiantly with the 5-point strike, flash away, gold card connects. They've got damage, they've got the kill for Shen Yi.
Don't think that Jimian needed to burn the flash there, but thought he had the outplay. Wasn't able to find it with Shen Yi rotating to help. This will be a trade as Jimian goes down, so does the Dragon. The Dragon count now equalized, but TSM, you still got to be happy with where you're at in this game state. As long as these skirmishes don't take place on the side lane, 400 Thieves, TSM should be heavily favored in the 5v5. And we like the scaling as this game goes on. There's going to be no solo availability for the side of 100 Thieves. It's not a lot of Baron pressure when you have Varus Akali as your mid in marksman. That's not a lot of Baron DPS, so I think TSM are still kind of in cruise control at the moment. They just have to make sure they don't give any windows in the next 5 minutes over to 100 Thieves to try and utilize the strength of this poke Varus at the moment to try and find more positive plays to get this game back in their favor.
And the big thing to me is the fact that you look at the item spikes coming in from TSM. Frozen Heart completed, Hullbreaker on the other side for Gamsu. Death Dance now to match Kenvi's in this jungle for Hyper. 3 items for Takeover, 2 items for Instinct. They're getting their carries into the proper spots here as we continue to scale up further and further.
Speaking of the proper spots, TSM, they're looking for this.
Oh, Wixie, he might be able to get gobbled up there, but he's got a lot of damage on top of Busio too. Shield, pop, trying to survive, but he still dies. Then he goes golden.
On.
They've got to be careful, though. That's still a lot of damage coming in from Kenvi. They're going to be able to get the kills for Wixie. Wixie's still on the other side with his own resets. They've got 2 kills for Jimmy, looking to see if they can force off TSM. Heartbreaker 2. That's Takeover flashing away, but he's going to be the follow-up coming in from Jimmy all the way back. Kenvi's now kited back by TSM. They might be able to survive, but at what cost?
Right idea from TSM. We can see the power of Rel in the Tahm Kench as Busio lost that 1k health shield to Rel's Q. Falls immediately, but it's too deep. They didn't calculate dealing with that turret. Yes, they do take it down in the end, but too much damage was dealt over to Shenyi and Hyper. 100 Thieves turn it around with Kenvi getting resets. It's a very aggressive play to pull against a Viego because if anyone goes low and Viego gets any of these resets, it's a tough team fight for TSM. We can see that again here as Kenvi was able to pick up this reset.
The big thing for me is the fact that if you look at 100 Thieves, how far they kite back, right? That's the big thing about this replay.
Yeah. It's a good look. I think that Busio, even though he goes down, he does buy a lot of time. And once Kenvi is able to get that reset on the Viego, you can see how difficult it is for the team fight to continue. As TSM instantly have to back off, losing both frontliners to the side of 100 Thieves. And some of those nice moments in terms of kiting back. And TSM, I respect them trying to, play more aggressively. They are ahead at this portion. We do like their comp a lot as this game goes on. But you can see some of the difficulties of what comes when you try and play the game too quickly. And that's what happened there as 100 Thieves were able to fix that up. Now as we get back onto the map, we're going to have to see if we can have a little bit more discipline out of TSM as 100 Thieves still trying to fight back.
Well, that's the thing for me, is that even though TSM got punished there, diving a little too far, they didn't really lose any control on the map. There's no dragon. They can still look for a play here mid lane with 2 people just showing up out of nowhere. But Kenvi's on the other side. That's going to be the big target. They got to be careful because look at Instinct. He's getting kited back. Kenvi trying to do his damnedest to be able to get on top of this AD carry who's doing his own to be able to flash away. But it's going to be the Heartbreaker to follow up. And Kenvi, this entire time, Instinct has been keeping him away, keeping him at arm's length that entire time to shut him down. But they got to be careful because here's Jimmy getting damage onto Hyper. That's going to be collateral damage, picking up the kill onto the jungler. 1 for 1 at the moment. Both junglers are gone. Hyper's in the front of everybody, keeping TSM safe so they don't get dove any further.
100 Thieves had every flash down in that fight, except for Instincts. That's the only, and they went to attack that carry for TSM, end up getting punished as Instinct kites that out beautifully. Now 100 Thieves still end up winning out on the skirmish in the back end. I think that we're starting to see 100 Thieves realize how this game's going to go as things go on. They have to push now. This is their window to try and find these fights as it's a Lichbane second item on Akali. And Jimmy's just going for these one-shots to make sure that Kenvi can get the reset as we get the replay. I was watching the top side with Kenvi, but this 4v4, Jimmy's just destroying Hyper. There's nothing that Hyper can do against this Akali. And the front line is just melting at the hands of Jimmy as he's the one doing the majority of the damage onto Shenyi and Hyper. It's really difficult for TSM to control, and I want to see if they can play these things a little bit slower. Because if they just wait on these gold cards from Takeover, that's how you can stop Jimmy and Akali. But until one of those connects onto the Akali, it's just going to be a free-range hunt for Jimmy to run through this front line at TSM.
They can kite it back pretty easily. We look at 200 Thieves and what they have to be able to deny that kite back, deny the setup that TSM want to have. You talk about Jimmy. Imagine if Jimmy and Kenvi both focus on killing Instinct. That is a gone AD carry immediately.
And he has no flash this time, and he's split, so they're going.
Exactly. That's the play they tried, but it's a great move from Takeover to make sure they can keep the AD carry going. With every member now corralled into this mid lane. The Nayram is here. TSM, they've got a little bit of damage poked back in by Wixie, but they got to be careful when they look forward, looking to see if they can gain control over this pit.
Well, that is one flanking tool taken away from TSM, but I think TSM is okay playing front to back with these Twist of Fate gold cards plus a Jinx. So curious if 100 Thieves try and find an angle. Wixie connects with that piercing arrow, but you can see they're doing less and less damage as this game continues. That one does a lot, though.
That did a lot. That was able to connect
Jimmy's
on
getting around.
Dimian this entire time was trying to kite back, but I think he was spotted out by that ward. That's why Hyper and Viper are both hanging out on the other side. And not Takeover and Viper. Both looking to see where that Akali is. They know that the Akali is no longer grouped. They've got the stun on a Viper. Hyper was able to get the dragon? What?
He's able to get the dragon, but can TSM get out as Jimmy
Jimmy's getting poked down by Viper. There's a realm warp
That's
available for Viper to get everyone out.
Okay, that poke onto Akali was enough. TSM, huge win for them as Hyper was able to secure the dragon. They get out with no damage dealt as everyone able to walk away okay.
Did he even smite that to secure it? I think that was just the W.
It was very close, as I don't think he was in range to smite that, man.
Right,
so
that's what
yeah, good call.
That is one of those plays that if you're 100 Thieves, it is a devastating loss. That Hyper is able to steal away the dragon, put themselves within soul point. And you talked about that before, that if they can get the soul point, that's going to be huge for 100 Thieves, but they can no longer rely on that. Gomsu had to flash away because of all the damage coming in from TSM.
And they even get the TP out of Jimian as 100 Thieves are trying to hit this. Instinct still no flash.
Yeah, exactly. They're looking for Instinct. They know he has no flash. The heal was used, but it wasn't able to save Shenyi's life. And now Kenby on the hunt knows that that's the target. With a Destiny Gate opened up, gold card on top of him. They can continue to kite back, but it's a 2v4. They do not have the members to be able to fight back fully.
So both teams on the reset try and go for a fast play, but 100 Thieves, even though they're on the back foot of that, they're the ones who come out on top in the response as TSM. I think just continue to try and push this game a little bit too quickly and are granting 100 Thieves these skirmishes where their comp really excel at and giving them windows to come back.
Yeah, it's a little troubling for TSM at the moment. They got to play it a lot more cautiously, but they do have 3 dragons on their side, and they are still scaling. As the game continues, they get more and more threatening. It gets worse to actually fully go into this Jinx because she can kite you back so easily.
And that damage is starting to get scary from Instinct as the rapid fire cannon has been completed. That will delay the Infinity Edge spike, but it's all about getting Instinct that first reset. So if that extra auto can, or extra range on the rapid fire cannon can get you a couple extra autos against a rather short range composition from 100 Thieves outside of that Varus, I think that's okay for Instinct and the rest of TSM as this is the point of the game, much like Wixie, where Instinct is very good. He is been struggling in some of the lanes with Yurson, but in these later stage, late game team fights, Instinct on the Jinx, it has netted TSM wins before. They don't have that many in this split, but Instinct's play in these late stages has been really good, and he's going to have to step up big in this game if TSM wants to take this one because 100 Thieves have shown a lot of fight.
They have, and
look
at the item that Kenby had just picked up. He went for the Randuins, but they are stunned up here with the fight coming in from TSM. Shenyi going to be the target first. He's taken down. It's a support for support. Kenby still alive. Trying to reset himself, but he has to get away. That's a lot of damage. They're going to be able to get the kill for Viper and Hyper. Viper continues to look for Gomsu with the gold card coming in from Takeover. When it becomes lightning, Jimian into the backline. The poke from Wixie turns one around, but now Jimian's got damage on top of Takeover. Perfect execution takes down Viper, but Takeover still alive. They've got Jimian finally gone by the wild cards coming in with a lot of damage from Instinct. He's not able to reset. It's Wixie shutting him down.
What a team fight from both of these teams. Somehow 100 Thieves comes out with an extra member after the engage from TSM. It was such a good setup from Shenyi to find Busio and Kenvi together with the CC so Busio could not eat the Viego, could not save Kenvi. He goes down early, but it's still TSM dropping the back half as Jimian just ripped through the side of TSM yet again. And I can't wait to see that one a second time because there were so many small moments that helped 100 Thieves come out on top of that one. Is now they've started up this Baron. This is dangerous. Shenyi and Takeover, they're here.
Look how long it takes 100 Thieves to actually get this. Wixie is way too low to stick around for this. Even if he's got poke on a Takeover, that's a flash. Oh, there's no flash from Takeover. He can't just get right in range. Instead, he has to use the gold card on a Busio. Shield 2.
They're stalling
100
for
Thieves
Kenvi.
are committing for this one.
waiting.
Kenvi is here. Viper, Hyper, right behind. No! They've got the kill on a Wixie, but the Baron's still secure. Wait, no, it's not. What am I talking about? Takeover stole it.
What happened? Kenvi was in range with Smite, wasn't able to get it down as Takeover somehow takes it with the wild cards, and yet again an objective goes over to TSM as that's huge. He didn't even have access to Smite.
No.
TSM now have the Baron, and I think that comeback window for 100 Thieves, this Baron might just shut it down. It's so difficult for 100 Thieves to deal with a Baroned up team.
And that's why I was so confused. I just assumed Kenvi was able to get the smite onto it.
No.
I didn't think the takeover was going to steal it with wild cards so they can topple these inhibitors in the mid lane.
Oh no, now TSM, they're just grouped up. Wixie's not back, so that's the mid lane inhibitor. This is going to be Ocean Soul going over to them as well, and I think with the 2 objective steals, man, Magical, TSM has done it.
I think so too. Realm Warp to get them all into the pit.
Oh my
Easy
goodness.
Dragon secured. Ocean for TSM Academy.
Tragedy strikes for 100 Thieves. I'm still waiting on the replay of what happened around that Baron, because first off, that fight in the mid lane was so wild, but then how did that Baron end up going over to the side of TSM? I thought Kenvi would hit that smite for sure.
Same. That's why I was confused. I just assumed. I didn't even think. I was looking at the rocket, so we got to watch this.
So Kenvi is here. He has access to smite.
It's just a blue card.
Oh, and the 450 damage just doesn't get it down in time.
Wow.
That's huge. Because, I mean, not only is that Baron, that's Ocean Soul now for TSM. And when you think of what Viego Akali wants to do, it's all about getting that first kill and reset. Ocean Soul can help you deal with that and make sure that you're never going to get low to the poke of Wixie's Varus. So I think now for 100 Thieves, it's going to have to be a Hail Mary, a crazy team fight where we get resets from Kenvi. And I just don't think that 100 Thieves can manipulate a map state going up against this Baron where they're going to be open to that. I think their best hope at this point is just to try and flip an Elder.
Yeah, and the thing is, this is where the struggles of the composition really come to the front line. The low range they have to try to get rid of these Baroned up cannon minions. Look at how far forward they have to play. It's more because TSM might want to reset. They've got a lot of damage, but they can just kite back Jimmy in, who just dies immediately. Destiny Gate is opened up. They've got a gold card onto Busio too. A lot of damage abound from the side of TSM. A TP behind, but Gomsu, you can't fight this. It's a 3v5. You've got to go over the wall immediately as you just showed up for the fight.
And Jimmy just pushing a little bit too far forward. Gomsu is forced out as well. This is the second inhibitor. They're porting minions in. They want the end.
Yeah, this is going to be the game. TSM looking for the upset over 100 Thieves, looking to bounce back after a brutal game 1. Jenny might have died there, but he is a sacrificial lamb. With the minions there for TSM, they can topple these and take the game.
They don't do enough damage to Viper. This should be it. TSM, couple objective steals, help them out, and it's going to be a 1-1 as a good bounce back for them, and good couple last series from TSM Academy.
What a bounce back from them. Getting the steal onto the Baron, setting up an Ocean Soul for TSM, tying 1-1 in our best of 2 over 100 Thieves Academy.
And that was not an easy game for TSM. I mean, it was a 6-0 Kenvi at one point on the Viego.
Yeah.
They had to deal with that. Now, they had a lot of tools to deal with that, but still, the more that we can see TSM try and come together, try and make these team plays, I think that setup they had where they caught out Busio and Kenvi together on that top side embankment brush that borders mid. Moments like that are things that we just haven't seen out of this TSM Academy roster, and that's more of what I want to see because we know that they have some young prospects that have a lot, like, good mechanics, and a couple have had some nice moments. I mean, Takeover Instinct. TSM, really excited about these two players. We know the level that Viper can play at. This team it doesn't feel like a team that should be bottom of the table by a long shot. And the more moments we get from TSM out of this, I know their last 2 series, split with Team Liquid, and now a split with 100 Thieves. These are 2 good series that they can try and use to get some confidence back and try and keep on improving their gameplay, because that is what's netting them wins. And seeing them play as a team, utilize that Realm Warp and the port to find these flanks and angles on a melee-heavy composition, that's good stuff from TSM. And that's what we want to see more of.
And with that, they tie it up 1-1. Gets them a little bit of a boost back into the standings. Hopefully get them in with the rest of the blob of Academy. For now, we're going to toss it to a break. When we come back, we'll have our beautiful host of Kangas with an interview. So make sure you stay tuned.
something growing up. I dreamed just nothing. Ooh, what are you? People talk loud, I get what they're telling me. I fucked up, but I didn't give it. Ooh, what a chew. Hey, I gotta say, something's going wrong, and everything's upside down. I'm falling. Hey, I gotta say, I'm always on a run. I'm getting closer to the light. By the time I'm changing my remedy, blowing up, I get sick and tired of this. What a truth. No one talk now, I'm feeling lost on it. Silence is loud, I get it safe from it. What a truth. Hey, I gotta say, something's going wrong, and everything's upside down. I'm falling. Hey, I gotta say, I'm always on a run. I'm getting closer to the light. And everything's going down. Yeah, everything's going down. Hey, I gotta say, something's going wrong.
Hello and welcome back, everybody, as we have our post-series interview with the one and only Viper from TSM Academy after a bizarre final game, but a victory for TSM. It's got to feel good. And first off, I just got to know what comms were like. First off, when Hyper steals the dragon, the third dragon for your team, and then also when Takeover steals that Baron, what did it sound like on the team?
Comms are honestly really hectic. We were all excited that it got stolen because it could have went both sides, and we won the coin flip. So
Hmm.
everyone was yelling like, good job, guys, good stuff." So we're feeling good stealing that.
Those are the kinds of moments that I always wish that we could hear what the team sounds like. Because, yeah, I imagine that it would get pretty loud. But a win regardless, and also for your individual performance. Pretty interesting showing, pulling out the Rise there as a counterpick into the Graves. Now, talk me through the reasoning behind this. Was this more of a, it just fit the draft specifically, or is this something that you've prepared into this matchup?
This is something I had prepared. I can always play Rise. I've always been playing Rise for many years. And they had a lot of other counter picks banned, like Aurelia, Jace. They had Tryndamere banned as well. So I'm like, just give me Rise here. It looks good. I'll play it. And yeah, we had the counter pick ready, and I just played it. Yeah, it seemed good.
I mean, yeah, obviously it worked out. And in lane, then also getting around the map, going for those rotations. Now, Twitch chat, I got to ask for them, because the meme going around right now is Shenyi shot calling, Shenyi shot calling. So I'm curious, because you didn't have a lot of time to actually prepare with Shenyi coming in. How was communication with a new player on the team?
Yeah, Shenyi does make a lot of the mid game calls, what he thinks what we want to play for next, stuff like that. But we're all involved. One person makes a call usually, and then everyone adds on to that. For example, one person says, "Let's play for Drake. Let's set up for Dragon." Everyone either agrees on that, or one person says, "No, let's play on the other side," or give Dragon, stuff like that. But yeah, mainly Shenyi says that.
Sure.
It's been really nice having Shenyu. It's been fun playing with him. So it's nice for him to shot call like that.
I think that's cool to hear because, of course, we can't tell just from watching the games, but hearing from you, cool to see that the team still has a shot caller on the roster right now. But I want to bring us now back to you individually as a performer, as a player on stage, because you've overall had a very solid split to start off spring. What are your individual goals for yourself? Do you have any benchmarks that you're hoping to hit for this year?
Yeah, honestly, I have a goal. Like, I just want to get back on to LCS. That's most people's goals. It's easier said than done, obviously. But I want to like work hard, bigger my champ pool, just grind harder to get back there. And I think I belong there right now. But I still, we're last place, so can't get too hyped up on that. We're slowly gonna start racking up wins, and we all want to perform. We all want to look good. We all want to uh, do good. But I do have a strong feeling that by the time Proving Grounds comes, we're gonna make it far, all of us.
Nice. I like that confidence. It's all about scaling for Proving Grounds. And on that note, interesting story, because your younger sibling is actually competing in the Proving Grounds Open qualifiers on 100 Thieves next. So are you nervous at all that you have to match up against your little sibling? Are you worried that your younger brother's got the inside read of your play style?
No. I got the inside reads of his playstyle.
Ooh.
So I'm not worried. I'm excited. I want to play against him. I'll teach him a lesson in and out of game. So no, actually though, it's gonna be really exciting to play against my little brother. I'm looking forward
Yeah.
to it, and yeah, I'm excited to see him improving on it. It's gonna be fun.
Has there
fun
been
against
any
him,
like
if we do.
hostility in the house? Any like smack talking, ribbing each other leading up to it? Is somebody Ethernet cable gonna suspiciously get unplugged during some of the games?
Not yet, not yet. But if he does win a game against me or something, I'll make sure to unplug his Ethernet cable, and I don't think I'll turn it back on.
All right. Well, we'll keep our eyes on Twitter. Maybe we can get some content around the Viper household of how that shakes out. But thank you so much, Viper, for the interview. Any final thoughts? Any message that you have for the fans out there before we wrap things up?
Just how we're having a really rough start as TSM early season. I'm not worried about it. Honestly, we have a lot of newer players. We need some time, to develop, to become better slowly. So, like anyone that's like, looking down, I guess, on TSM Academy right now, I'm not worried about that. I think we're gonna scale it really well and become a very good team.
Okay. Again, scaling is the name of the game for all the fans out there. Thank you so much, Viper. Best of luck going into prep for tomorrow's best of two. And with that said, we'll send it to a short break before we're back with more Academy action.